Hey guys, it's Mr. Wolfie, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about the Electoral College. Now, a lot of people are upset about the results of the election, and rightly so. I mean, if you didn't vote for Donald Trump, especially if you voted for Hillary Clinton, just the not voting for the other person and then being mad that they won is a little bit lame, but not voting at all and being mad is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And you idiots that refuse to vote and then are just protesting in the streets, yelling at everybody else, yeah, shut up, please. Just either vote and then talk. If you didn't vote, if you couldn't vote for some reason and your vote was denied to you because of certain restrictions in voting laws and things like that, that makes sense to be a little upset about that. But if you just plain were somebody like, oh, I'm not going to vote, it doesn't matter, and then when you were mad that the results didn't turn out the way you wanted, you're insane, alright? So, just cut that out, please. Just stop it. Also, as a side note, I'm very curious, like a lot of people are saying, oh, it was because of racism, it was because of sexism that Donald Trump won, and I wonder if all the white people that voted for Hillary Clinton realize that all the people that are saying they hate all white people because Donald Trump is in the office, I wonder if they realize that they're actually saying that they hate them too, because a lot of the Democrats are like, yeah, we hate white people too. They're like over here like, I didn't vote for him, do you hate me? And they're like, yes. Because that's just how people are these days. It's like, yeah, somebody's got to hate somebody. And it's apparently pretty cool and spiffy to hate white people because there's a lot of them. So, that's how that works. But the Electoral College is very important. I've seen a lot of people saying we need to get rid of it because Hillary Clinton may have and probably did win the popular vote. And, that's happened a couple times before. See, I can see that argument that you would be upset that the popular vote didn't win anything, but you've got to consider a lot of factors here. One, when the Constitution was written, the Electoral College is actually in the Constitution. That's why we use it. It's not something that we just kind of came up with. It's been there since we started the country. So, just saying, oh, it's terrible, it never works the way it's supposed. It's worked pretty much the exact same way for how many, I don't even know how many years now, over 250 years, or like, a lot of years. I need to do the math, but I can't do it while I'm trying to keep on message here. Point is, I'm sure people have complained about it a lot of different times throughout the years, but it just would not have been feasible to go by a popular vote when the Constitution was written. Mostly because, well, for one, people were still fighting over whether or not slaves counted as people, and whether or not, actually, the only people that could vote at that point was literally white men of a certain age that owned land. So it wasn't even like, you can't even say necessarily that it was just racism. It was like classism and everything. You mean, if you were a white guy and you were under like 30, I don't know the age exactly at the time, and you didn't own land, then you were counted as just, your voice didn't matter anyway. So the Electoral College, what it did at the time was make it so that all the states had a say. It wasn't, it wasn't a perfect system by any means, but it worked much better than if they had just thrown out the popular vote at that time, because then there's no telling what kind of people would have been put in office, because it would have been something like it is today, basically, where only the rich people put rich people in office. At the time, it was people that could actually lead the country properly, or to a certain degree, better than if something else had happened. So what it effectively does is it gives all states kind of at least some input. I'm sorry, I got like, something is tickling. I think it's like something messing with my allergies in here. I'm going to sneeze real bad and I can't. But it makes all states kind of have an equal voice. Not an equal voice by any means because it goes by population, but there is a lot of... It keeps certain populated states from being like super powerful in their voting behaviors. Just look at it this way. Okay. The main reason the Electoral College is kind of messed up right now is because the Democrats and a lot of Republican states even refuse to allow the states to break up the electoral votes based on popular vote. Maine and some other state, I can't remember the state, actually allow the votes to go by what percentage of the popular vote won. So like if you get 75% of the vote or close to, you get 3 out of the 4 votes or points that Maine has. That's genius. That's brilliant. That works because that's how the primaries do it. So why not, the regular vote? It's because of the blue wall. Now the blue wall is Washington, Oregon, and California, I think, and New York, and a couple of other large blue states that they refuse to allow to break up the votes because it absolutely guarantees that the Democratic Party wins consistently. Because California is like a fifth of the electoral votes you need, and the Democrats carry California almost 100% of the it's really crazy when they don't carry California, and I don't think it's ever even happened, come to think of it. But anyway, the point is 55. Now imagine if you broke up that 55. In the case of this election, something like 40% went to Donald Trump, because it's not just this super huge, consistently only Democrat population. It's just the heavily populated areas are Democrat. Also, I want to talk about that in a second. So it wasn't just this perfectly even split, and it also wasn't a landslide per se. So it would have given Donald Trump something like 20 votes and Hillary Clinton 35. There are several cities, LA, Chicago, New York, Detroit, I think, several heavily populated areas. There's that make up more of a population than certain states. Now imagine if they were the only ones that got a voice, which is what the popular vote would end up doing. If they all voted Democrat, which they tend to do. Now let's talk about that, actually. What is something about urban environments that always run Democrat? There's got to be a correlation there. It's also something about urban environments having a bad habit of being run down and crime-ridden and dangerous. I think that has nothing to do with anything other than the poverty differences when you combine just a huge group of people in a bundle. It just causes natural chaos. People need a little more space. We're not designed for just living 6 people deep in a box, set inside a building that's just a series of boxes, so there's like 500 people per building. That's going to cause some chaos somewhere down the line because there's one person that's going to be angry that they live in those conditions, and they're going to start freaking shooting everybody or blow up the building, and it just kind of breeds the situation where crimes occur. Now that also tends to breed an adherence to democratic, I guess, policies. I guess it's the leaning socialist, the government safety nets and the I don't know, just leftist leaning stuff. Also more of a tolerance for social issues, because when you're in close proximity to people, you either are, the hardcore super racist type, which does occur, or you're, best friends with all the different minority groups, and you have tolerance for each other, and you actually care about each other and give a crap about each other. So it's like this weird potpourri of political opinion that end up becoming a blue city. Now the thing about that is, alright, when you're a super heavily populated place like LA, it's not fair to say the entire middle of the country, which is extremely red, they're all wrong. It raises this huge issue where if you are just letting these certain little spots in the map vote for the entire landmass of America, then you're screwing over millions and millions and millions of people. Also, for one thing, if more people voted this election, it might be different. Because, I think less than a third of the actual population of the United States voted in the first place. So really, can you complain when you're the ones that screwed up? I voted. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I didn't vote for Donald Trump. I have the right to criticize everything that happens from here on out, because I was one of the smart ones. If you had voted third party, if you had wrote in Bernie Sanders. How many write-ins did Bernie Sanders get? Harambe got tens of thousands of write-in votes. Harambe the gorilla. Alright, so this was the year. This was the season to get a third party or a out-of-nowhere candidate to possibly win. And we went with the 2 angry old white people that may or may not, they're rich, that may not have any connection to anything, and people are blaming racism for any of that. You shouldn't have put Hillary Clinton there. You should have had a candidate that would run under the DNC, but the DNC screwed themselves over. All right, so blame, if you're blaming anybody for any of this, blame the DNC. All right, Donald Trump was literally hated by like everybody. Somehow, Hillary Clinton was hated more. All right, you have the entire DNC, half the Republican Party, the entire media except for like Fox News, most of the, every freaking college ever, and all kinds of stuff, just pushing as hard as they could, saying we do not think Donald Trump should win, and he won anyway. You got to give the guy credit for that. I mean, he is like been the most underdog candidate I have ever seen ever, and I've kept up with politics for the last few, rotations. It was incredible the fact that he won. So you got to give him credit for that. I don't know. So far I don't like what he's been, like his cabinet. I'm not too super fond of that, and we'll talk about that in another video. Anyway, so what get me started on this really is people like, especially celebrities like Chris Evans was talking about getting rid of the Electoral College, but that's easy enough for him to say when he lives in LA, right, where it's absolutely going to be blue, and they're absolutely going to vote Democrat. So it's like, how do you find balance? The balance is the Electoral College, and the way to fix the system is not to get rid of it, but it's actually to make it so that the states break up the votes based on the popular vote. Because if you can do that, then you bring in the best of both worlds. The popular vote still counts for something a lot more than it did before, and everyone gets a voice without just trampling this group or that group or that group or that group in the process just to get your candidate that you think is the best, just to get them winning. This is best, because when you break up the Electoral College votes based on popular vote, it works like the primaries. And one candidate may carry a state by like 51%, but the other one got 49%. So they would split it just about in half, the votes, the Electoral College points. How is that not a good idea? How is that not smart? It's ridiculous that 51% of California can vote blue, can vote Democrat, and the Democratic candidate gets 55 Electoral College votes. That is insane. That is stupid, and we need to fix that. But do not get rid of the Electoral College, because I don't want some friggin' person in LA saying that they can, having all the power to vote for what my entire state votes for. Which, by the way, Mississippi was like 58-42. Yeah, for like 58-40 something. I think it was like 40 exactly, because like Gary Johnson did get a chunk in Mississippi. But we only have like 6 electoral votes, so that would be, 4 would go to Donald Trump and 2 would have gone to Hillary Clinton. So if you did that across the board, it would completely change the game. But they don't want to do it because they like the blue wall. Republicans don't want to risk the few states that they actually have that matter, like Texas. Of course, Texas was super huge Republican again. They're pretty consistently, because they only have a few big cities. But I don't know. It's just common sense needs to win out here. People are still using these impassioned fists in the air rage things to try to make decisions, and that's the problem. That's what got Donald Trump voted in, was, the Hillary Clinton's only message was, okay, Donald Trump was talking to the middle class and everything. He was talking to the people of the United States. He was going to all the places where the actual people that he wanted to vote for him were, instead of just going around to the biggest cities and saying, Donald Trump is racist and sexist, and if you vote for him, you're racist and sexist. I'm a woman, so you should vote for me. That was literally Hillary Clinton's only message. Donald Trump was saying, I'm going to make sure you have jobs. I'm going to make sure your family's safe. I'm going to make sure that this and this and that and this. He just had a smarter message. And people want to say that that's racist. They want to say that that's sexist. They want to say that that's homophobic and xenophobic and all this stuff. But it's what actual human beings care about. I want to be safe. I want everybody I know and like and love to be safe. I want to have a chance at a future, and I want to have a job. And Hillary Clinton didn't touch on any of that, and if she did, it was all like this half-hearted, not talking to the right people in the process. That's what lost her the election. The people that are saying all these things and the people that are angriest are like the media figures and the talk show hosts and everything that were literally laughing at the idea that Donald Trump might win the Republican primary. They were cackling. They got videos of it everywhere. You can look it up. Look at Bill Maher videos. Look up John Oliver videos. They were like, oh, I hope he does win. Then Hillary Clinton will smash him. And now they're like, what on earth did we do? It's their fault too, because they promoted the idea. So John Oliver, I'd like to formally say that you're the one that wanted Donald Trump to be against Hillary Clinton, and look what that got you. So don't be angry about what you have done, okay? The Young Turks are huge examples of this. They were like that. I saw a video and it showed like the best moments of their election breakdown. It was hilarious. It was like this. They were so happy at the beginning, like, oh, this is gonna be amazing. Hillary Clinton's gonna be the first president. Donald Trump's gonna get smashed because he's such a jerk. I hate him. And then like as he started winning states, they were just like, oh my God, what's happening? Oh my God, I don't know what to do. And they're like screaming and yelling, and like one of them left and came back drunk, and it was just like the best thing I've ever seen in my life, and I loved it. I don't even like Donald Trump, but I really like that a lot of people are angry that he won, because a lot of people that are angry were jerks, and I don't like the jerks. So I'm not fond of bullies. I'm just not. And the people on the pro-Hillary side this time around have been tremendous bullies. You say that about the Trump people. I did not see the Trump people going and starting fights and riots, and they probably would not have started burning entire cities down. So, yeah. Anyway, I think I've ranted enough about that. Peace out. Love you guys. This has been Mr. Wolfie.